Welcome to my channel.
Hello! So this is a review of my Conquest Lathe. So it's a Chester Machine Tools Conquest Lathe, or as my father-in-law calls it, an XYZ lathe, because I believe back in the day there was a brand called XYZ that basically imported all these machines and then just rebranded them. Now I might be talking ignorantly, but I think that's what Chester do, because quite a few of their tools are very similar to other companies' ones, so I'm not sure if they all buy them from the same factory in China or wherever they're made, probably China, and they just give them different specifications and things, and they just all come slightly different, but they all look mostly the same. Now this one's really good. If you're thinking of getting one, I'd say it's good. I know there's a lot of other ones out there, but I'm really happy with it. You know, I haven't got any complaints. It's not the best lathe, but for the money, it's perfectly fine. You know, I've seen and read quite a few people saying, "Oh, these things are chintzy and they're all rattly, and you know, all the backlash is too great in them and things like that." But you know, when you buy them, that I wasn't expecting any different. If I wanted something that had like zero backlash and was, you know, like you could control the RPM to the most minutest of precision, and you know, it had everything perfect on it, then I would have spent another probably £2 and bought, like, you know, some like top of the range lathe. But for what I was looking for, this is perfect, and it's never ever failed me, apart from on one thing which I'll touch on in a minute. It's really good. Like I say, I bought this because I was into, I still am, into air rifles. Now I don't go shooting animals, or I don't even go shooting targets, I'll be honest with you. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of plinking, which is where you just walk around the garden with an air rifle and shoot things, mostly the heads off my mother's flowers and things like that. Now, although I don't even do plinking anymore, I still keep buying air rifles, and it's only one particular brand, so it's Falcon or Titan air rifles, because when I was a kid I used to buy the magazines, and they were like the brand in there that I was like, wow, they look amazing. Anyone that knows of them knows a Falcon Raptor out, and had this skeleton stock on it, and I can remember when I was a kid thinking, God, when I grow up I'm going to have one of them. So I just keep buying them, and I've got 2 or 3 that have never even been fired. I've just bought them and never even shot them. So anyway, I bought it because anyone who's got an air rifle or any kind of gun knows that as soon as you get them, you've got to replace everything on it with brass, because it's just the thing you do. God knows why, but it just makes it look fancy. Everyone calls it brass bling, and that's what I use this for, replacing loads of the parts and also machine replacement bits, because the brands that I buy, the Falcon and Titan, they don't make them anymore. Falcon still exists, but I think it's owned by Air Arms, and they've gone a bit specialised for me and not as simple. The old ones were really good. You could work on them yourself. Now, with this lathe, I'm going to go freehand, so sorry if it gets a bit wobbly. I bought it to do that kind of work, and as such, it didn't need to be amazingly precise, but that doesn't detract from the fact it is precise. It's just not as precise as some other ones, like your professional lathes, but for a hobbyist's lathe, it's absolutely perfect. Now, I've machined stuff down to all sorts of different tolerances, and it's been fine. You know, it's never held me back from the work I've wanted to do, which is like sort of gunsmithing and making replacement parts and pieces for inside mechanical devices. I do a lot of repairs on motors, in like sort of like kitchen equipment and stuff like that, and mechanisms, and it's been fine for that. You know, I've machined parts for a reel-to-reel player in it, and it's never let me down. It's always been fine, and I'm really happy with it. If you were thinking of getting one, I'd recommend it. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail about the pros and cons of the machine that I've had. So it comes on a nice bed, waterproof bed with a drain hole in the bottom, so your cutting fluid can drain out of there. Now it's quite heavy, but it's easily manageable, which is a pro. Like, you know, you can fit it easily into your car if you buy one. Now, when I bought it, it came with sort of everything you sort of see here, except the drill chuck at the back there, which I bought afterwards. You also get different sets of teeth for the 3-jaw chuck, so you can get it comes with the teeth, so you can reverse. They're the other way around, if that makes sense. So you can hold bigger work in there, doesn't hold it as tight, but you can still hold bigger work in there. It's got a through, so you can go straight through, and it will come out the back there, so you can machine long work on it. And it's got your normal sort of mount on it. Now, I'm happy with everything. The things I'm not happy with. So, I wasn't intending on ever using it anyway, but within about 10 minutes of turning it on the first time and lifting up the guard just snapped and fell off. But let's be completely honest here, yeah? Anyone that uses these things, the first thing you're going to do is take that off anyway. So, it's not a negative for me at all. But it did just snap off straight away. But again, it does not affect the usage of it at all. I mean, they're supposed to be more safe with this guard around it, but for me, which I think a few people might agree, but a few people might disagree, is I think it makes it more dangerous because you can't quite see the work properly, and sometimes, as much as people wouldn't recommend it, you know, sometimes you do just need to get your hand in there, and it just stops that. So that's that done. Another thing that's a bit dodgy on it is, now I bought it, and one of the intentions was I wanted to cut threads on it. Now, when I was in college, I got taught how to cut threads on Myfords, and this setup's exactly the same, but I have had 0 success rate on cutting threads with this. But that might be down to my ability. So, do you know what? Don't hold that against the lathe, actually. It might be down to my ability, but I've not had any success cutting threads on it, so I gave up with that one. So instead, I got like bought off the internet. Sorry about this being such a mess here. One of these which goes in the tailstock, and then you can do your threads yourself that way, which is really good actually and quite accurate. What else is a bit of a negative? These originally, which are the bits you spin and loosen the tools with, these sort of screwed in to this. Now, they were just forever falling out, so all I've done is I've welded it on, you can see there, and then the same with the tailstock one, I just welded it on to stop that. I mean, again, it's not a negative though. You're going to expect it with any of these tools, whether it's a Clark one or one of the Machine Mark ones or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter, they're all going to be the same. So yeah, that's good. I can't really think of any other negatives on it. I'll be completely honest with you, I can't think of any negatives. That's it. Now, if you're wondering what the tolerance is like on the actual tool itself, the backlash is quite severe. You know, I never use the dials on it for the readouts really, just because the backlash is so great. Now, you can get it much better than this, because I did get it down quite a lot, but after a while I just gave up. And what you find yourself doing is, when you're machining, it's just a case of machining your work and then coming back out and stopping the lathe and then measuring and then doing another cut and measuring, instead of where you'd normally sort of get your diameter and then you'd be able to read off your actual off your dials how much you need to go, you know. So in theory, you know, you could know this is 10 mil and go, right, I need to go 10 positions on here to get the depth or 5 positions on here to get the width of cut I want. So you could just like literally turn it 5 and then that would be done. Bob's your father's sister, it's set. With this, it's pointless, you might as well not bother going off it. But that's not just this brand, that's not just Chester, that's all of them that I've used. So yeah, so there's that. Speeds are good, forwards, back, reverse. So let's turn it on. Where's the plug? There we go. Right, we're on. Up, down, yeah. So you can see on here, you got your fuse on the top. Never gone, that hasn't. So it's in forwards, and we are in high gear. So on the back, you can see here, it's all dusty. Let's just blow that off. So on the back, you can see you got high, low, and then this is for your feed here. So this one will control your feed bar down the end there. So at the moment, what was it in? It's in high. So it's in high, so it's high speed but low torque. Now, if we turn that on then. What did he say? What did he say? He said it's never gone. It's just popped the fuse in the house. What have I popped? RCD socket garage. Yeah, it's gone. There we go. What was that? What was that? Let's turn it down and off. Well, that is weird, isn't it? That is very weird. That fuse is gone. Smell it. No, it's not the fuse. How peculiar. Well, that looks like another project I'm going to have coming now. Maybe if we just pop the fuse in the plug. Let's keep the speed down. Socket up. Oh, never mind. I must have just overloaded the sockets. Anyway, let's start again. So there we go. So anyway, your RPM. So you can turn it down. You can see quite low, but this is one thing that's strange about it. See how it's turning quite slow? As I just put a little bit of resistance on it, it'll speed up and then stop. I don't know why it does that. It's got something to do with the speed controller inside, I'm sure. So you can see you can get it quite slow. You can go up and it will go very fast. Like almost scary fast. Then if we disengage it and put it into low, so it's got more torque now. Pop the safety off. You can get it down really slow with this one. And you can it's just biting on that edge there. There you go. There's no way I could stop this with my hands. You know, the torque on it's really good. And then you do have quite a lot of control. Obviously you could stick your own tachometer on here and measure the speed, because it hasn't got a speed readout. So there we go. Safety features. Let's get her on. So we've got her on. Emergency stop. Stops quite quick, so that's good. The only thing that is quite bad about it is, watch this. So it turns back on when you pop it off. Shouldn't do that really, in my opinion. Once you've hit that, it should disengage that switch altogether, but it doesn't. So in theory, it does make you jump if it's on full speed and then you pop it off. Imagine if that was in high gear and you accidentally did that with the jaw open and the key in. It'd scare the shit out of you. Now that's why I'm in a really good habit of, when I turn this off, I lift up the safety guard there, lock it down, and I put the switch in the middle. So now, see, it's on, won't go on. Even forwards it won't go on until I slam that down, then it'll turn on. But that's a bad feature about this, I think. So anyway, this will disengage it as well. So when that's down it'll work, and when it's up it won't work. The safety switch. So let's go, what can we do now? So we're all in, forwards, yeah. We can pop her on forwards and then turn it off, put it in reverse, and it'll go in reverse. I always remember when I was in design college, when we first got taught how to use the big lathes. So when we were in school we got taught how to use the small microids, but when we got taught how to use the massive lathes, we're always told this story, I don't know if it's true or not, where somebody had it in, they were changing the belts inside, and they'd only sort of like slightly wound the chuck on, and they had the chucks on these machines we had in college were huge chucks. You could hold almost like a car tyre in it, and the guy just sort of wound it on slightly, and he basically had it all set up and blah blah blah, and then he went away and come back and then changed the belts in it, and it was still set in reverse. And when he turned it on, he like accidentally kicked it into like full speed, and obviously because it was in reverse, it unscrewed the chuck off it and threw it across the room, and there was like a brick wall painted white like this, and there was like 5 or 6 bricks all missing that had been re-put in that were a different colour. and the story was that the chuck came off, sort of bounced across the parquet flooring, which was all scuffed in this line, and then hit the wall. And it didn't go through the wall, but it hit the wall, and all the bricks come loose, and they had to knock them out and put them back in again. I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds true, and after me making a mistake on it, I could believe it. But yeah, so that's your range of motion with your jaws and stuff. And to be honest with you, it's quite accurate. When I say this, it's got a lot of backlash in it. It hasn't in certain ranges. So if you're using this, it's got hardly any backlash. Weirdly, this one's got quite a lot of backlash. Loads in this one. Not much play in this one. So that's good. But it does hold your work tight. So once you've got it in and referenced and dialed in and stuff, it will hold it really tight. There's no play in the actual jaws or the chuck itself at all. That I'm really happy with. Tailstock's quite good on it. I use the tailstock quite a lot because I do a lot of drilling and tapping, especially because most of the parts I made had to be screwed on or screwed into something. I did loads of drilling and tapping on this. And you know, I'm really happy with it. And I picked the chuck up from Chester as well, and that was quite cheap. I think it was about £15. It's probably gone up in price now because I bought this a fair few years ago. I don't even know if they still make it. But yeah, that's good as well. And then I mostly, in fact, nearly exclusively machine brass on this. But I have used it for wood turning before, for turning down pieces of wood. Not like ornate wood turning, just making handles for things normally chisels. And then I have machined steel, and I did make my wedding ring out of titanium on this as well. And anyone that's a machinist or an amateur or a hobbyist or anything, when they hear that I've machined titanium on this, will be absolutely wetting their pants, because it was, I tell you what, it was like pulling teeth. It was a right mission, and not something I'm going to repeat again in the future. So yeah, so there we go. If you're thinking of buying one, I'd recommend it. I'm really happy with it. Nothing's gone wrong with it really, at all. You know, there's only the few odd things, which I say again, it's stuff you'd expect of a lathe of this price and this quality. It's not saying it's bad quality at all. It's built to a price point, and for the price point it's built to, it's very good. So I'd recommend it. Another thing is Chester, the company I bought it from, are really good. They're not far from where I live, and the service from them was really good. I rang them up a few times afterwards as well, and asked for advice and things, and they were more than willing to give me some advice and stuff on it. So yeah, okay, cheers for watching, thanks, bye.